This is a special presentation for the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino on the Bleav Podcast Network.
What is going on, you guys? Rick Ucchino here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast channel and the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in for this really fun conversation I'm about to have with Corey Graves and Carmella. You know them from Monday Night Raw. Corey Graves, obviously the color commentator. Carmella, one half of the women's tag team champions. And, you know, look, we talked a little bit about WrestleMania coming up, yes, but a lot of this interview is going to be focusing on them as people, because I think they sometimes get a bad rap on the internet. Like, they really do. They get a lot of unnecessary hate. This is a really fun, down-to-earth conversation based off of their YouTube show, which is now up in its entirety, I believe, up on the WWE YouTube channel. And if you've seen the advertisements for it and go, okay, that ain't for me, trust me, the show is absolutely nothing like what the trailer presents it to be. And I get into that with both Corey and Carmella. But first things first, this interview would not be made possible if it wasn't for our friends over at Bet Online. Football season, sadly, is over, but basketball season, baby, it is just getting good. You got March Madness coming up. You got the NBA playoffs coming up. Pro and college hoops is where it's at in March. And from all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all of your sports betting needs. Head on over to the website. Use your mobile devices to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Bleav to get started. That is BLEAV. By the way, it's not just basketball, folks. BetOnline is your source for hockey, boxing, UFC odds. It's the best in the business. Sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, your #1 online wagering destination. The fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts. And it is now time to start my conversation with Corey Graves and Carmella here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast YouTube channel. By the way, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, do all of it, baby. I really appreciate you. Here's my conversation with Corey and Carmella. All right, so obviously we got a lot to get into today. First off, starting with your guys' show, which is now officially live on the WWE YouTube, appropriately named Corey and Carmella. And this is a very well put together show. Great binge, format set up there. They're 10 minutes. They're very quick to get through. I'm through the first 4 episodes myself right now, and I think the biggest question I have that I need to get answered, and Corey, you're probably the guy to do this. What is up with all of the fireplaces being bricked off in Pittsburgh?
I have no earthly idea. It is the weirdest thing. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I was born and raised here. And we looked at least 3 or 4 different houses that had bricked up fireplaces. And I'm sure there's a reason for it. I haven't figured out what it is yet, though. Yeah,
see, in Cincinnati, where I'm from, they're not bricked up. They're just not functional. So,
okay.
You just have to call in somebody and they say, oh, yeah, you can't use this. And it's like,
yeah, but you still have it.
Right, exactly. I have it. I think it's better to have the open look than the bricked up
That's
look.
what we have now. We have 2 fireplaces and they don't work, but we have cute, like, what are they called? Candelaras in there. So at least there's something we can put inside.
Sure. And I have young kids, so I don't want to, get them anywhere near the thing anyway if I had a fire going anyway. The other question is, going off of having young kids, I have a 3-year-old daughter who will not let me do her hair no matter what. And you seem to be the master at this. So any advice for me here, good sir?
I wouldn't even be able to tell you any advice. It's just something I've always done since I used to have long hair when I used to wrestle many, many years back. So yeah. I knew how to make a ponytail basically. Every once in a while I'd try to do something fancy, but it's just something that my daughters and I have always done to sort of goof around and waste time, even if we're not doing it for anything properly. Just, we're sitting around watching TV and they'll come down with 12 different hair ties and beads and different things and just being ridiculous. So they want to do my hair or they'll do Leah's hair now. It's just something, it's dad-daughter time, man. It doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're getting it, right?
Yes, absolutely. Rebecca, my daughter, loves to bring over her fake makeup kit, and she's got to put it on, dress daddy up and everything like that. So, I kind of asked those 2 questions to lead into what this show is really about, because if you look at the trailer for the show, which made a lot of headlines, and obviously you guys set it up that way for a reason, the show is completely different than what you actually see in the trailer.
Right, and that was all by design. We've never, up until this past Monday, really acknowledged on WWE television that we are in fact together. We've acknowledge it through social media. I haven't been hiding it from there. But as far as having the masses know about it, we kind of needed to come out of the gate strong. And we really leaned into, and we had several discussions with, pardon me, with marketing people and our social media department as to what's the best way to launch this and get people talking. And we went somewhere that WWE hasn't gone in a long time, since, you know, probably the late 90s, sort of just the edgy, sexy, spicy vibe.
Sure.
And it got a lot of people talking, not all positive, but a lot of people talking.
At least to the point where they wanted to check it out. Like, oh my gosh, if their trailers like this, I can't even imagine what the show is. And then once they actually watch the show, they realize, yes, do we make sex jokes? Do we reference sex once in a while? Sure. But mostly it's us being real and living our lives and figuring out our way here in Pittsburgh, buying a home and being with his children and my dad. And, you know, it's really just our lives, but it's not all what you think it might be by watching the trailer.
Ultimately, we just have the sense of humor of a 13-year-old kid.
Right. We're very immature.
We make sex jokes all day.
Sure. Yeah. No, then that's totally fine. And I'll do those with my wife as well, except, you know, she'll just like roll her eyes and give me that look. And I'm like, hey, I'm funny, damn it. All right. You know, just deal with it. Exactly. Just laugh and make me feel good. That's all I ask. Yeah. So obviously you guys have been always very open and honest about your relationship on the Bear With Us podcast, but there is a difference between talking about it, discussing it on a podcast form, and then showing people, exactly letting them behind that curtain and see the everyday lives. When you guys were, when the discussions were underway to get this show going, was there any hesitancy from either one of you to really dive into this and really open that door and show people this, or was it kind of just, we're in this?
I think that was our discussion when we decided this is something we're going to do. Okay, then we need to be real. We need to be authentic. We need to have it be authentic to our podcast, because that was what we wanted to do, be real and open on that and show who we really were aside from what you see on WWE. And so when the discussion came about having a show, it's like, okay, well, nothing's off the table. Otherwise, it's not real. It's not our reality. If we're going to be like, oh, well, we can't show this, or we can't talk about that, or I'm not saying that. We really want it to be authentic to who we are.
And in unscripted television, they don't call them reality TV shows anymore. Unscripted television, obviously, there's going to be compromise. There's got to be situations. Otherwise, you're not going to have much of a TV show to watch.
Right.
However, WWE is awesome, and Glass Entertainment, the production company behind it, have been awesome about allowing us to have creative input. And yes, we like this. No, we don't like that. And when we were going through the editing process and we were watching the rough cuts back, there were a few times we looked at each other and kind of went, maybe that's a little too far. I don't know if that feels quite like us. But then, you know, it's not just about our opinion. And then we would discuss it with, you know, the company or some of the producers, and they would say, yeah, but this works well because of that, and sort of learning the TV aspect of things. But it was of the utmost importance to us to be authentic and maintain the spirit of the Bear With Us show, which is not Corey and Carmella, it's Matt and Leah. Right. So to bring that vibe as close as possible to this WWE platform was really important to us, and I think we did a pretty decent job of maintaining it.
Yeah, with that in mind, right? You're talking about, you do all this stuff and you're going through the editing process. When you start a project, right? And I just recently launched a channel myself. When you start a project, you have a vision in mind of what you want it to be, and then you go through the process, and the end product might be something completely different. What was the biggest differences from what were your expectations and what was the final product of the show?
I think just because of the fact that it's basically one long episode, one 45 to 50 minute episode that's chopped up into 5 episodes. Okay. So there's only so much that you can put into that one episode, right? So I, of course, wish there were more stories and more aspects of our life. I wish we could see us more in, like, I have a house in Florida that we go visit pretty often. I wish we could have showed that. I wish I could have shown more of my family, or, you know, just different sides of our lives that we have and things we experience on a daily basis or a weekly basis. But again, we were kind of limited as far as, again, it's just one episode that's now chopped up. So hopefully, you know, we'll be able to do more and show different stories and different sides and different things with.
And one of the reasons that it was released the way it was is because we shot this, all of the footage that you're seeing in these first 5 episodes was shot over the course of almost 2 years, because this whole project began mid-pandemic. And then just with the world being upside down like it was for so long, things took a lot longer, and then we'd have to go back and maybe reshoot something, and oh, hey, we're moving. Oh, we can't get a crew this weekend, and just all these different variables. So once everything had been shot, it seemed to be a little more easily digestible to break it up rather than try to force it all and cobble it together into one mega episode.
Yeah.
Just take the little story arcs and kind of let them all live on their own. And that, with it being on YouTube, is cool because it's an evergreen show. It's not necessarily relevant to what's happening this week. It should hold up, hopefully, for some time now and give people a reason to go back and check it out or rewatch it, or if they've just heard about it and haven't seen it yet, you can watch from start to finish, and it takes you about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to blow through the whole thing. So,
right,
but I do think it kind of ended up the way we were hoping and expecting. And one thing that was really important was to have our podcast be part of the show. And I think that adds a different aspect to the show that you don't really get to see in most unscripted television shows. You know, it adds a different take on what we're talking about in the show.
Yeah, and man, I'm already up to the season finale. That's exciting. When episode 5, I mean, it's here and it's gone. So hopefully you guys get to explore some more in season 2, because again, I had, based off the trailer, certain expectations heading into this, and it was completely different. And it is, nice to kind of be, shown that backstage and be like, yeah, yes, they're very famous people that I watch on television every week, but they're just like me or you. And it is a really, really good show. And I've enjoyed the first 4 episodes. So congratulations on the launch and everything like that. And I did want to spend a little bit of time here, because we're only 30 days out as of this recording away from WrestleMania, obviously the most stupendous 2-night event in the history of Dallas, Texas, WrestleMania 38. And Carmella, I want to start with you, because you already have your spot secured on the card. You and Queen Zelina are going to defend your women's tag team titles against Sasha Banks and Naomi. That is a big matchup. I'm curious, does that, knowing that you have that spot on the card, does that allow you to be more relaxed knowing that you have your spot secured? Or is it like, oh crap, now I have a match at WrestleMania and now you're kind of ramped up a little bit more?
Well, I'm never relaxed. I always want more. I always want to be the best. I want to always improve. I always want to, outmatch what I did last year or the year before that, and just show up, show out always. But it's weird. Last week we were doing these interviews and people were saying, what about WrestleMania next month? What are you going to do? And it's like, well, I don't even know. I don't even know if I have a match. Right. So the fact that now I know, I am that much more excited and always prepared. I always stay ready so I don't have to get ready. And so I'm not worried about making sure I'm ready. I'm just excited about really showing up and showing out and just putting on the best match we can possibly do.
The biggest stressor that she's experienced this week has been what sort of gear she's going to have made for
WrestleMania. Well, because I always serve looks, okay? I have to serve a look. I can't just show up looking cute. I got to
So when Sasha and Naomi issued the challenge, her first thought wasn't, we should accept the challenge. She was like, what the hell am I going to wear?
Oh my God, I'm texting my gear maker right away. I got to make sure I look the part. Because I'm going to show up and show out, but I got to I'm ready.
Sure. No, I get it. And I've talked to Kofi Kingston about this before. The New Day, they take gear to a whole new level, but it's a way that they express themselves. Yes, exactly. And he told me they really had to, him and Woods, they really had to kind of get Big E into the gear game, right? So that's just kind of a natural thing for you. It's like, all right, it's a special occasion. You can't wear what you wore at last year's WrestleMania, right? You got to do something different.
Right, and I know people are always wondering, what is Carmella going to wear? Because that's something that I know I always serve a look, and so there's a lot of pressure on me to be like, okay, well, I really have to step my game up.
Well, you're going to look fabulous no matter what. We know that.
Know.
We absolutely know that. Corey, for your sake now, so you're going to be calling WrestleMania.
Yes.
I'm a broadcaster, right, by trade. I do radio in Cincinnati. And I can't imagine, the stress of WrestleMania weekend from a broadcaster standpoint. For wrestling commentators, this is calling the Super Bowl. So is there any special prep or any kind of, do you treat WrestleMania any differently than you would a Raw or SmackDown when you're heading into it?
This is going to sound totally backwards probably from what you're expecting, in that WrestleMania, in my experience, has been one of the easiest shows of the year to call every time I do it, because it's the culmination of the storytelling. Sometimes the stories have been laid out for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and it finally comes full circle. So the story's basically been told. So during the entrances, my partners and I will tell what needs to be told of the story, but then I just get to be a fan again. I get to call these epic matches, these WrestleMania matches that will live forever. And it's gratifying to me, or satisfying to me now, to know that in a video package the next night, you're going to hear my voice, and that will live on because it's me getting to call a moment that genuinely resonates with me, not because I'm a broadcaster, but because I'm a wrestling fan.
Sure.
And so I look forward to WrestleMania, and from a broadcasting perspective, and I can't ever give anybody advice in good conscience because I'm not a broadcaster. Like, I accidentally fell into this world. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Yeah. So I wouldn't be able to give you any sort of comparison from a broadcasting perspective. As a fan, though, it's super exciting for me to this very day.
I'm sure I have to ask you about this because I'm sure you've heard the rumors as well that, and it's not set in stone. Nothing ever is until it actually happens. But there are the rumors out there that not only could Stone Cold Steve Austin make a return to this card, but so could Vince McMahon. Have you given the thought of that you could be on the commentary for those two performers in the ring?
I've heard the rumors, I've heard the rumblings, and I'm close enough to the situation, we both are, to just say it's WWE, never say never. So it is an entirely real possibility. He's actually doing, I think, Pat McAfee's show right as now, we speak right now. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what exactly is breaking down as far as that goes. But it's so weird to me. Again, back to me being a fan. A few years back, I got to call Undertaker matches and Shawn Michaels' return in Saudi Arabia, and I've called Goldberg matches. These guys that I grew up and they were heroes to me, and I've been able to voice some of their moments. It's all surreal. At this point, I think Austin and McMahon are about the only two left that I haven't gotten to call in some capacity. So, I mean, if I can get one of them this year, leave something for next year.
There you go. All right. Well, as we say in the business, we got a heart out. So I appreciate you guys. I know you have done a million of these interviews already. Hopefully I asked you guys some questions you haven't gotten yet. And, good luck moving forward. Looking forward to the season finale. Looking forward to WrestleMania.
Hey, man, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
this was fun.
it.
Yeah, thank you for your time.